Hey everybody, can you turn the volume off of that computer? Thanks. Can everyone see and hear me? Hopefully yes. Good morning. I'm glad to see a good amount of us here today. So we have a great guest speaker. Amanda Deacon is going to be here, and she's going to be talking about experiential learning, right, and internships. She's got a great presentation for you. Everyone's doing a great job on keeping up with all of the assignments that we've been doing so far. When she's done, I'll have her hand it back over to me, and then we'll go over the logistics of what's due this coming Wednesday by midnight. We can go over any questions that you have about the presentation today and what is due coming up. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and feel free to turn off your mics. If you have any questions for her, you can type in the chat box, and we will get started. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just want to say hi. I am going to go ahead and turn off the webcam here so that it's not a distraction with my head and the information that's on the screen as well. If for any reason you have any technical difficulties, please feel free to let us know. Like I said, Megan was saying, go ahead and type it in the chat box. I'll check in with each one of you in a little bit. All right, so I believe we are set to go. Fantastic. So we're going to talk about experiential learning today, and what it is, why do you need it, all the ins and outs and specific information that you would need to know to actually get one. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm hoping everyone's going to be able to see the screen because I did full screen on this one. If anyone can't see it, please let me know as soon as possible. So what is experiential learning? I'm going to throw the question out to you right now. Type in what you think experiential learning is, if you have any inclination as to what it might involve, maybe an example, whatever you think it might be. And then we'll go ahead and define things. So we'll just wait a couple of seconds here for some responses. Learning about how to obtain more knowledge, good. It's kind of like exposing yourself to the outside box with learning, yes. More experiences. All right, wonderful. Learning from experience, learning better ways to learn, the process of learning. All of those are absolutely accurate. Experiential learning is derived from actual experience. So when you're thinking, yes, you need experience outside of the box, when we think of experiential learning, it's something that is outside the classroom. It's going to engage you in the workforce. You're going to learn something while you're on the job. Now, there's multiple different ways to define experiential learning beyond that, but it's really active learning. It's taking class information and applying it to the actual workforce itself. So hopefully that gives you a semi-clear definition. We'll go into it a little bit further here. So there's lots and lots of different types of experiential learning. So depending on your program here at WCC, it depends on whether or not you actually have something built into your program. Many of you have heard of things like internships or clinicals, co-op, externships, apprenticeships, field research, job shadowing, practicum, student teaching, independent studies, and then community service or volunteer work. Now I'm going to stop here for a second because I want to define exactly what WCC defines as some of these. Clinicals, if you are in the healthcare industry, it is going to be built into your program already. If you don't know, you're going to want to go to the main WCC webpage or talk to your faculty sponsor or your academic advisor to find out if it's a part of your program. Practicums, there are a couple that are built into WCC. One in particular that I can think of off the top of my head is for childcare. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, what's the difference between an internship and a co-op? Well, employers define it differently than academic environments. In an academic environment here at Washtenaw Community College, a co-op is defined as credit-based, so you actually sign up for a class. It's scheduled, which means it lines up with the semester that you are going to be having that experiential learning opportunity. It must be paid, And you will have a faculty sponsor, which means you're going to have some type of objective. Maybe you'll have to write a research paper. They could be doing a site visit for you. You might have to do a presentation in front of a classroom, things like that. Now, internships are a little bit more loosey-goosey. They can start and stop at different times. They don't have to align with a particular program. There's lots of other definitions for an internship. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Apprenticeships are a whole nother story. We'll reach that in just a few minutes, right? So a lot of times people are saying, well, why the heck are we talking about experiential learning? Well, why do you need it? One thing is you're actually going to be working in an industry applying the skills that you're learning in a classroom, which helps you gain your confidence and it helps you increase your skills, okay? It also increases your marketability. Now, we're in Ann Arbor. I don't know if everyone on the chat is located in the Ann Arbor area, but if you think about it, there are a lot of other colleges that are hosting some of the same academic programs. You want to make yourself desirable to an employer. Having had experience in the industry allows you to be able to do that. It gives you a certain edge, especially when you're going for an interview, all right? A few statistics for you. Employers love interns. A lot of times they will bring an intern or an individual for a co-op in for a semester. They'll see how you work. They'll see the fit of you with the organization, how you progress. If there's an employment opportunity that's available after that, they will actually offer you employment afterwards. It's like a gateway program into employment. Now, at any time, you can determine, you know what, that internship program was a great experience, but maybe the company culture isn't the perfect fit for you. There's nothing stopping you from actually working through the experience, gaining the knowledge, and then you and the employer separate, and it's perfectly fine, okay? Most of them are paid, all right? So it helps you supply or supplement your income. So you're taking classes, which means you have to have money to be able to pay for those courses, okay? And you have a higher potential for a starting salary. I'll give you an example in the IT area here real quick. If you do an internship in the IT industry, now generally they will start out at a pretty high salary. Say for example, they start out at $45,000 a year, okay? Somebody without an internship being offered $45,000 a year, what do you think the amount of money would be starting if somebody did have an internship? Feel free in the chat box to give me the answer or your guesstimate on that one. So if I offer $45,000 a year to a person who doesn't have an internship, what do you think I might offer them if they did have an internship or a co-op with some experience in the industry? Maybe the median pay, good guess. Anybody else want to weigh in on that one? You can give me a figure. $100,000, okay. $30,000, okay. $90,000. So typically what it is it's a percentage of the pay itself. In IT specifically, it can be a range, typically between $8,000 to about $10,000 more than an individual that doesn't have an internship. So if you think about it, it's not quite double. I had a few people that put some really, really high numbers in there. It's not quite double, but it is a substantial increase. Because if you think about, all right, $45,000, I'm going to do an internship for maybe 3 months, and I'm going to get an $8,000 to a $10,000 raise just starting out. That helps. You also want to think about your starting salary in a way of that first starting salary. Most people will get an increase of about 2% each year, which is that compound interest of increasing your pay ahead of time. So if you start out at a low number, it's going to take you a longer portion of time to get that raise, to get to that higher income that you're looking for. Okay? So we're going to continue on to why should you pursue an experiential learning opportunity. The biggest one I can tell you is you're test driving the career. All right. What do you know? How do you apply it? Is it the career for you? Do you like working in the atmosphere that you've decided to pursue your career in or your education in? You get to learn about things that are on the job. Maybe there are some expectations that you might not have heard of. When you're absorbed and integrated into the industry, you're going to hear multiple different industry language as well. So you're going to immerse yourself into the activity. It also helps you do better academically. So if you're working and applying the knowledge that you're learning in the classroom, you might learn something on the job that you might not have learned in the classroom just yet. The reverse is true. You'll become a better student because you'll have an understanding of the industry. Okay. Big one, this last bullet point down here, networking and professional references. A lot of times people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know and how to get a job. Well, there's a lot of different ways to find employment. That's not the only one, but it is a very, very high potential. When you're working in the industry, you're rubbing elbows, you're going to conferences, you're talking to people in the industry, you're actively communicating with professionals in your field, that you might be able to foster those relationships and find other employment down the road, or make some really, really great professional references and some friends within the industry. Okay, so there's a couple of statistics that I want to show you here real quick. One is this top number right here. Now, I'm talking to you through an electronic format right now. You're probably not going to remember everything I have to say. You typically only retain about 75% of what you do or you retain 75% of what you do compared to 5% of what you hear. So you're probably only going to retain about 5% of what I'm saying, but when you're actually out actively working, searching for a job, talking to people, making cold calls, doing your resume, all of those different things, you'll actually retain the information more because you're physically doing it. Okay. I know I saw the frowny face on that one. Now, that's not true of everybody. I have a pretty good memory, so I have the ability to be able to understand what my professors are saying and taking notes. Everybody is a different type of learner. So you could be an auditory learner, you could be a visual learner, you could be a tactile learner. If you combine all three of those together, which typically in employment you do, you're going to retain the information a lot more. All right. Now down here on the bottom is just, Confucius said this, it's a quote that I want you to remember. Tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember, involve me and I will understand. This is really the root of experiential learning. You're diving deep, you're physically doing things, you're applying concepts, you are actually working in the industry, able to ask those questions and solving those problems that are out there within your industry. All right. So everybody knows about internships and co-ops, and there's several different myths that are out there that I want to debunk. Most internships are unpaid. That is an absolute myth, all right? Nowadays, there are guidelines set up through the state of Michigan that requires experiences to be paid. Now, this depends on which industry you're going into. Bottom line, if you are assisting a corporation profit and you are increasing their bottom line, chances are your internship or co-op is going to be paid. Now, if you are in the social sciences area, I'm going to tell you this right off the bat because I did it in counseling, it's probably not going to be paid because you're being supervised by an individual who is licensed in that particular area. So if you think social work, you think psychology, chances are if you're counseling someone, you're probably not going to get paid to do that, unfortunately. But if you are an intake specialist, that is actually on the front side of the counseling portion where you're taking information from clients before the therapist actually speaks with them. That is a paid position. So it just depends on which industry you're going into. You must be a junior or a senior in college to participate in experiential learning. Absolutely not. You can start out your first semester, first year of college with absolutely no experience. We have built relationships with employers that say, day one, we want you enrolling at WCC and going to classes, and day two, I want you employed in my facility so that we can start teaching you what to do in the industry. So that's absolutely a fantastic partnership that we've started to develop with some of our local employers. You need relevant work to experience to get an internship or co-op. Absolutely not. I just said a junior or a senior, you could start out your freshman year, first semester, no experience necessary. Don't worry about it. We can find something for you, okay? Internships only take place during the summer. Now, some of this is true, but it's not only during the summer. You're gonna find, as a student, most students have about 20 to 40 hours a week during the summertime to devote to experiential learning. It's because you may not be taking classes. Employers are aware of this, which means they're gonna offer maybe some of their long-term or programs available during the summertime because they have more time with you. You can do an internship or a co-op or experiential learning at any point in time in your academic success. You can start in the fall, you can start in the winter, you can do spring and summer, you can do every single semester. Whatever works out with your schedule, that's how it's, and whatever program is offered during that time, that's how it's scheduled, okay? Now I'm gonna give you a couple of examples here really quick of the internships, and I won't go into it too much, but there is what's called an IT residency program. There's a SMART scholarship, UMTRI, which is the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute, and then General Motors. We've developed relationships with all of these areas, and I'm going to jump in and just give you an example of one because I know we've got a lot more information that we want to talk about. So say, for example, the SMART Scholarship Program. It is based off of the DoD. So the Department of Defense is offering this locally to individuals in the Detroit area. The office is in Detroit. It is a STEM-related scholarship, but they offer you so many different benefits. So it's not just a scholarship program. It's a 2-year-long program where they actually give you a stipend, so it is paid. They give you a book allowance. You have health insurance. They partner with us and with the employment opportunities, and it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed for 2 years long. Okay, so there's a lot of really, really great opportunities. Give you one more example. With General Motors, we actually partnered with them, I think it was last semester, and we had 6 individuals interview with them, and 6 individuals participated in their internship co-op program. At the end of that semester, they offered all 6 of them full-time employment while they were still going to school and contingent on them graduating from WCC. So they were offered employment before they had even graduated, as long as they said that they were going to finish their program. It's a pretty good opportunity that's out there. We'd like to advertise that quite a bit. Now, here's where everybody asks the question, well, how do I find these awesome, great experiences? Well, let's talk about that. 1, come and meet with Career Services at Washtenaw Community College. We're talking electronically, so obviously we have access to GoToMeeting. We can do a virtual meeting with you, okay? Oh, I'm gonna stop myself here really quick. Somebody's got a question about what programs does WCC offer that GM wants. So right now it's within the automotive, the IT, the manufacturing, and the technical autonomous vehicle area. Right now, those are the programs that are well established, but we're looking at broadening those as well. Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Stuart. Back to where to find it. Career Services, like I said, we offer virtual appointments. We offer face-to-face appointments in our offices. We can do group appointments. We do class presentations. It just depends. We can do phone appointments. It just depends on what is available to you and what methodology is going to work out best for you. Okay, so that's Career Services. The other areas, you're going to find it electronically. Intern in Michigan is a fantastic website. You'll find things on Indeed.com, Pure Michigan Talent, Ann Arbor Spark, specific company websites. If you're interested in an organization, we call this proactive job searching. If you want to get a certain type of experience with an organization, go to their company website. They may actually have an internship program built into their organization already. They're going to give you the requirements, the stipulations, what you need to apply for that position. Now, say, for example, it says that you have to be pursuing a particular degree or relevant experience. The relevant experience could be where you fall. You might not have the degree just yet, so you still will qualify. Employers are flexible when it comes to these things. You just have to reach out and ask. Some of them are very strict, steadfast. You have to have exactly what they say and it's a requirement, or it could say preferred. If it says preferred and you may or may not have it, go ahead and apply anyway. And then I was going to tell you about Career Connection. You probably have seen this on WCC's website. On the Services tab, it says Career Services, and on the right-hand side, you'll find that it's a job posting website. We have connections to all of these different resources, and employers are specifically coming to us to advertise these positions. You will need a resume, and you potentially will need a cover letter to apply for them as well. There's lots of different options. Okay, so the experiential learning opportunity, I had mentioned Career Services. I want to tell you a little bit about some of our extra stuff. So obviously to get a job, you're probably going to need a resume. You're probably going to need that cover letter. You're going to have to upload it into Career Connection. When you upload your resume and cover letter into the Career Connection site, it automatically goes to one of the advisors to be reviewed. You will probably be getting an email from us with suggestions, with comments to help you either tailor the resume a little bit more or suggestions on what more to add. There could be some spelling errors, there might be some formatting issues. We just want to make sure that the product that you are providing to an employer really advertises who you are. So that's one thing. The other thing is mock interviews. If you haven't been on an interview before, you haven't been on an interview recently, or you just want to practice before you have one, I will actually sit down with you, David, Barbara. We will conduct and ask you interview questions based off of the industry that you are applying for. It helps you get the nerves out. It helps you practice those responses, and we'll give you feedback. Maybe your answers are too long. Maybe they're too short. Maybe it's not enough detail. Maybe it's perfect. It's right on. We'll give you that feedback so that you know before you go in. Making connections is a big one. I talked about some of the internships and the companies that we had partnered with. There are many more than just the ones that I just listed. There are a lot of companies that are out there that might be seeking an intern but don't have a specific internship program. I'm actually working with a couple companies right now who are interested in bringing a few people on, but it's a pilot program. They don't have a formal program available for an intern or a co-op. We're in the process of helping them create those and get somebody placed so that they can get the experience that they want and need. So next steps, if you're thinking about doing an internship, if you're thinking about doing a co-op, if you just need help with your career planning, please feel free to come and see us. Make an appointment, let us know what you need. We'll help you develop the resume, the cover letter, we'll start doing job search techniques, and then we'll move on to the interviews. Okay. All right, co-op. Remember I said, this is the required portion at WCC. This slide gives you all the information that I had talked about previously, and it tells you exactly what you have to do. Right? It has to be approved because you are signing up for a class, and it does have to align with the start of the semester. Okay. If you have questions on that one, we can go over it a little bit later, or if you have in-depth questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to explain the process in detail, but this gives you an overview as to what you would be doing. Okay. All right. Now, making an appointment. This is very, very important. My name is Amanda Deacon. I actually work with Barbara Houseworth. She is my colleague and coworker. I am an academic, I'm not an academic advisor. I am a career advisor, and I work with the part-time, full-time, temporary, seasonal, and other types of positions. Barbara is our experiential learning coordinator. She is the woman who specializes in helping you find these experiences. Now, David and I, we're both career advisors. We do help in this area. We are very well trained in this, but we wanted to make sure that there was one person that you could go to find out all this information. All right. So I wanted to put her information in here so that you could actually have contact with the specific individual. All right. And if for some reason Barbara is not available because her schedule does book out, usually it's about a week and a half for all of us. If for some reason she's not available, David or I will actually help you, and we promise you're going to get the the same amount of treatment, the good experience, but we're also going to get to follow up with Barb so that we can help you find those experiences as well. Okay, so I'm going to throw it up. There isn't a slide for it at all, but I figured I would take this time to see if anyone had any questions, because that was a lot of information to throw at you. If you've got a question, feel free to put it in the chat box. If you don't, just indicate N in the chat box and send it so that I know that you're good. All right. So it looks like we've got a couple of questions. All right, so does U of M have internships? Yes, they do, in multiple different areas. They've got an apprenticeship program established in their IT area. They've got research internships available in multiple different categories. We actually had an individual do an internship within, I believe it was their exercise science or their physical therapy area. I'm trying to think of all of the other ones as well. If you're thinking internship with U of M, you can find it on their actual job posting website, because they advertise internships through their main job portal as well. All right, and it looks like everybody else is good to go. Thank you very much for having me today. Like I said, if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to us. I'm going to put Barbara's information back up here real quick, just in case you needed it. And I'm pretty sure the slides are going to be available to you through your Blackboard area. And hopefully we'll see each and every one of you either virtually or over the phone, electronically, or actually in our office. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to all of you soon. And I'm going to give you back to your professor, so don't leave.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much.
All righty. Thanks again to Amanda for filling in for Barb today, and we will see her actually in one of our later presentations this semester. So let's just do a little housekeeping. At this point, you should have completed all of the assignments through unit number 3, module 1. And by tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Wednesday, you need to complete unit 3, module 2, which is journal number 3 and the time management planning for unit number 4. A big thing to remember is that your interview should be scheduled at this point right now. So you want to make sure that your interview should be scheduled with those people for the career interest interview that you're going to be completing. So make sure, if that is not, that you get that done as soon as possible. Do we have any questions about any of the assignments that you've already completed or the assignments that are due this coming Wednesday? If not, you can put no. Okay. Just checking through this real quick. Doesn't seem to be that anyone has any questions. If you are missing some assignments, please go back in and do them as soon as possible. You can also send me an email that you've submitted some assignments if you want me to go back in and look at something. But I don't believe anyone has any questions about anything coming up. And yeah, if you have an issue with your interviewer, I would try and find someone new ASAP. You can copy me on that email as well. You're not going to lose points for that email assignment part, but you do want to find the person as soon as possible. And if you need help with that, please feel free to email me about that. Okay, so if there are no further questions, great job today, everybody. Hope this was informational. Keep up the great work. And I will end up talking to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.